Hello, honey. Honey, do you like Dennis? Like Dennis, look. Little Dennis. Honey, honey. You can sit there, yeah? Alright then. Hello, this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 109 of the Sophie Art Podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things. And today we are joined by a special guest, Funny the cat, Little Funny. So if you're watching on YouTube at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson, you can see Little Funny. Little Dennis is here as well, the co-host. The little co-host, Funny. This is Funny and Little Dennis. She likes Little Dennis tickling her. But today's going to be a very little podcast, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my website and like developing the website. So each week for the month of May, I'm going to talk about the website. That's basically what this week's topic's going to be all about. This week's inspirational quote comes from one of my favourite art books. Oh, I just lost the page. Well, I've wrote it down, but it comes from an artist called... What was the artist called? Petra Frankova. It's a beautiful little quote from the art book Sketching from the Imagination, Creatures and Monsters. So little Dennis is getting into this one. So... I was almost going to not do any podcasts for the month of May, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the website, because I think it was in November the website broke, and so November, December, January, February, March, April, May, so 6 months the website's been broke, and I haven't really been doing much on it until the last week I started doing stuff. It's because I was doing another job, so because I've finally left it, what I've decided to do is I'm going to take the whole month off and just work on the website. And so instead of not doing any podcasts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do little ones each week, kind of like talking about some of the things I've learned and stuff. So over the past week, I've just started doing stuff, and I've noticed I've got a load of little things here to talk about, which I think will be quite fun. And that's basically it, really. So no, not really. Being silly. So what have we got here? Well, the thing is, I've learnt so many little things. The first thing is, I've created a buffer of videos. So, because I'm not going to be creating any videos for May, what I did was on Wednesday, 2 days ago, I spent 5 hours doing nothing but making videos. So for the month of May, I've got all my videos already done, and that worked so well that I thought to myself, I might do that every month. So each month I might spend 1 day creating all the videos, because then it means you've got all the videos done. So for the rest of the month, you can focus on other things, which I quite like that. It worked quite well. So for the month of May on the YouTube, there's going to be loads of Graphite magazine videos. I looked at issue 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and issue 1 of the Graphite magazine. So I'll be putting those out over the month of May. So that was quite good. It was like, because I thought to myself, I still want to be making videos, but I don't want to actually be making the videos, because it would distract me from the website. So I really wanted to focus on the website. So I thought that was quite a good little idea, and I kind of got that from Inktober. So when I'm doing these art challenges, sometimes I'll do like a bunch of Inktober drawings on one day, because then you can take a couple of days off during the art challenge. It's quite cool, I think. So something else I realised was I've started on the website by doing my realistic pencil drawings. So what happened when the website broke? What happened was the theme I was using, it basically started spiking the server. So what happened was the people who I buy the website off, the web space, they said they basically deleted my website for 24 hours, I think it was. And they said if you want to get it back, we'll let you back in for 24 hours. You got to fix it, otherwise you won't be able to get your website back. It's a bit weird. So what I did was I had to disable that theme and use another one. And then what ended up happening was all my web pages are gibberish. So the whole thing turned into gibberish. So I knew it was going to be a big job to fix it, and it sort of put me off even starting really. But what I should have done was I should have chunked it up, because what I'm doing is each section of the website I'm working on each little bit at a time. So I'm starting with the realistic pencil drawings, and what I've got to do is I've got to go into each page and basically reformat it, which at first, the first one takes about an hour, but after that you get into like the groove of it. You can sort of do, I think on Saturday I was doing it, no Sunday, and I got it to about 15 minutes. So it went down from an hour to 15 minutes. So I could get a page done in like 15 minutes. This is why I think it's really important to, if you're going to be doing something like that, something like a repetitive task, it's good to do it in a big long block of time. Because if you were only doing 2 hours a day on it, it would take you a while to speed up, and by the time you're getting going, you'd have to stop. But if you've got like say 8 hours a day to do it, yeah, by the second hour you're into it, and then you're going to get so much more done by doing it like that. I've learned that as well from other art challenges and stuff. I think that's quite good. But what I noticed was a load of my old realistic pencil drawings, I think it was the first 5, I've actually deleted them off the website, which it upset me a little bit because I know why I did it. When I redesigned the website in, I think it was 2017, I wanted to sort of keep the best ones, but I think I should have kept the old ones as well. So what's ended up, I've still got them. It's just each little drawing on the website has got a little story with it. And I was reading one of the stories from one of the drawings. It was quite amazing because I'd forgotten about it, and I said that I was so into the drawing that I actually started crying. And I can't remember that, but I thought that was amazing. And then I started thinking to myself, oh, I wish I had kept the original. I wish I'd kept those original 5 drawings on the website, because I've lost the little story that I wrote with them. So I could still find it on the backup drive, but it would take me a while to find it, I think. But so what the little moral was, I thought to myself, don't remove your older stuff. I think, like, keep hold of it. I've got a little negative thought in my head at the minute, because my throat is, I feel like I need to cough. Yeah, I need a drink or something. And what's happening is that there's a little sound that my voice makes, a little like croaky. It's distracting me a little bit. But what Muji says is if you expose it, it loses its power. Because if I had kept that in my head right then, I think it would have made me go a bit negative. So I got that out. Nice. So what else have we got here? Oh, so the little moral is, I think, keep hold of your old stuff. Yeah, because even though it's not going to be your best stuff, there's going to be something in there, I think, that it's nice. And not only that, it's nice to see the progress of what you're doing and stuff. So I'm probably going to go to my backup drives and try to find that and put it back on the website, because I think that'd be quite good. I've also got a new font, so I've decided to go with a new font, because what I've done is I've got a new logo, but I haven't got it properly yet. Because what I've got is I've got my name, and I've got like a little heart above the I on Sophie, but I've got to basically draw that little heart and colour it in the 3 colours of pink, lilac and blue. At the moment it's like a little temporary one, But what I've done is I've picked a font. I'm going to use that font. So what I'm going to do is all my thumbnails for videos, everything I do now, because I post little like quotes on Instagram as well, everything's going to use the same font, whereas before it was using different font. I think it'd be quite cool because it means that no matter what you go on, it's going to look consistent across everything, which I think is quite cool. And it's a much thinner font as well, so it looks a little bit more sort of, to me it looks a bit more elegant, because it's quite weird how font, like the shape of font, the shape of text actually has a feeling with it. It's quite cool, that. So I just love that. I love playing around with fonts. One of my favourite things with making videos is actually making the thumbnails. I love doing that, because you have to like play with the image, and then you have to put your font in there, and what you got to try and get the font to look nice while still having the image there. There's kind of like a skill there in creating thumbnails, I think. I quite enjoyed that. So then I've also put here, I've put simplifying is hard. What do you leave out? So I've wrote a load of little things that I want the website to be. One of them is simple, because I'm looking at my older websites, there was like lots of stuff on there, but it was so much stuff on there, really, I don't think you ever really saw anything. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have the same amount of stuff, but less things on each page. So I want each page to have more space between stuff. So what I'm thinking about the space between everything. So I'm thinking about the space between the images and the text. Yeah, I'm just thinking about everything, and like the space between the buttons and stuff. Because before, everything, it was all crammed together, I think, and there was so much colour that the colour really, I liked the colour, but yeah, there was so much colour that it was a bit too hectic, I suppose. I do worry a little bit that the current one is going to be a bit too boring, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it probably like 80% grey and white, with a little splash of colour, because then what would happen is the colour would pop. So like you can have colour on the buttons, and there's a little bit of colour in the logo. So I'm trying to make the colour be more important, I suppose. And something else I'm going to do, which I think is going to be fun, is on the photos, because I'm going to have photos of my artwork, sketches and stuff, but also photos of like when I'm posing and stuff. It's quite fun. But what I'm going to do is on the bottom of the photo, I'm going to go into Photoshop, get a paintbrush texture, or a brush with a paint texture, like blobby things, like splash, as if it's splashing of paint. I'm going to turn that into an eraser, and I'm going to erase ever so slightly the bottom of the photo. So when it goes onto the website, it's going to look like the photos, all the images, it's going to look like there's paint. It's going to look like the website, the white of the website is sort of paint flowing into the images. In my head it looks really nice. I haven't tried doing that yet, but it's just one of the little things I'm going to do. I think it's going to be quite fun. So I'm going to be starting that during the next week. But I've put here, simplifying is hard, what do you leave out? So it's like you want to leave stuff out. You've got to leave stuff out. But what do you leave out? Because there's lots of stuff there. It's going to be really hard, I think, when I go into the blog. Because when I start moving into editing the blogs, I'm going to have to really, really edit these down. It goes back into Austin Kleon in these little books. What he did was, he has put so much wisdom, like concised. Because that book is so little pages, but there's loads of wisdom in little sentences. Whereas on my website, I think there's loads of writing. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try to convert all that writing into smaller bits, so that it's easier to read and stuff. But I feel like that's a skill, really. I think you're going to have to level that up. Yeah, so one of the problems I got is I feel like I find it hard to leave things out. But I think you've got to, because if there's too much there, it's gonna get in the way of the message and stuff, I suppose. So that's something I've got to be really mindful of, simplifying everything. I've also put here focus, overwhelming. One of the reasons I'm focusing the month of May on the website, and I know it's going to take longer than this, but for the moment I'm saying the whole of the month of May. I just want to see how much I can do in the month of May. So I thought if I make the whole month about it, I can focus on it then. Because if I was still doing other things, luckily I finished the studying course last week or this week, and I actually put a little video on the YouTube about it. It's the basic perspective drawing with David Home. So if you're scared of perspective, I would definitely recommend trying that course out. I'll put a link and everything in the description at sophielawson.com. But that course has been very amazing, really. It's made me feel like I could draw anything in perspective, and I've never felt like that before. So it's a super powerful course, that. But luckily, because that course finished, I said to myself, right, I'm not going to do any more studying now for the month of May. So basically, all I'm going to be doing for May is my little draw a day challenge every morning, and then I'm going to have like 8 hours every day to work on the website. So I'm going to be really focused on it, and I'm going to break it down into little chunks. Like I said, I'm going to do each section like one at a time. So I'm just going to focus. I'm focusing on the website, and then I'm focusing the website into little chunks. And also I'm focusing those I'm focusing those little chunks into smaller chunks. So like, for instance, the focus is the website. I'm then focusing the first week on the realistic pencil drawings, but I'm focusing like one day on nothing but thumbnails, redesigning all the thumbnails, another one on getting all the images resized, and that's when I'll put the little paintbrush texture, and then the next one will be focusing on formatting the text. So it's just going to be like proper focused. I think it's going to be quite cool, and I started doing it on Wednesday and it worked quite well. So the other thing I've got is ideas come, distracted, want to test ideas. Oh yeah, this kind of links into focus. So on Sunday I was sitting there, I just started doing this, started like working on the realistic pencil bit. And what I noticed was, as I was working through the realistic pencil bit, I was getting loads of other ideas for the website, and I was thinking, I started thinking, I want to redesign the logo. So instead of focusing on the pencils, I went off and started playing around with the logo. And in the end I said, no, stop doing that and get onto these pencil drawings. So that's why the logo is kind of not properly finished yet. It's a temporary one, but the good thing was I got the text out of it, so that's quite cool. But yeah, so what I noticed was, as I'm I've got all these ideas, and what I've got to do in the end is, I've got a sheet of paper next to me as I'm on it, as I'm working on a website. If an idea comes in my head, like it might say something like, when you're doing your photos, create a little image of, because one of the things I've got is I want to get little Dennis on the website. So I want to draw little Dennis, which I've already done with the Draw a Day challenge, and I want to get like a little Dennis, a little cartoony little Dennis, like sprinkle in throughout the website, so it's a little bit of fun. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I could put little Dennis here. So what I had to do was I just said, look, I'm going to write these things down. So what I've got is a big sheet of paper with a load of ideas. Because if I get the idea out of my head and write it down, I can focus on the website instead of going off and start doing all these little things. So there's kind of like a distraction thing going on there. And then the final little note I've got is, stuff takes longer than you think. So what was it? I think on Sunday I was starting to do the thumbnails. So basically I got all the thumbnails redone. No, I didn't. What was I doing? I was resizing the images or something. I was doing something with the images, and I thought, this would take about 30 minutes. And it took about 2 hours. So this is why I know it will take a lot longer than a month to do it. But if I say, I'm gonna spend 3 months doing it, I probably wouldn't do it, because that seems too long. Whereas a month, and what I could do is I could do a month of it, and then take a month off, then do another month. But I don't think I will. I think I'll keep going. So basically that's it really. It's just loads of little things that I've noticed during the first few days of working on the website. And what I'm going to do is next week, as I'm working on the website, if I think of something, so say I'm struggling with redesigning the images, or let's say I'm looking at the sketches that I've done, and I might think of something, and I might think, oh, I miss doing this, because what I've noticed, there's some on there which have got black paper with white pencils, and I haven't done that for ages. And when I saw them, I thought, oh, I want to get back into that. So this is another reason why I think it's good to keep all your old stuff, because in a weird way, your old artwork, it sort of inspires you in the future. It's quite cool, that. It inspires you and motivates you, because you're seeing improvements as well. Yeah, that was amazing. Looking at the old realistic pencil drawings was really quite motivating. So I like that. But ding! Little Dennis, he says it's the end of it here, because what we're going to do is we're going to make these very little ones. Going to try to aim for like 15 to 20 minutes for these. It's going to be more like a little diary thing, I suppose. Little things that I realise, and if there's nothing, I could just say, oh, there was nothing this week, and that'll be it. But I think there will be, because when you're working on websites, it's all about really problem solving. So it'll be quite amazing. It'll be quite interesting to see what problems come up, and what happens and stuff. I think it'd be quite fun. So that's basically it for this week's little podcast. I love slurping. So this week's inspirational quote. Just before I started recording, I flicked through this book, and what I've been doing is I've actually been, for the past week, I've been sketching other artists' little drawings from inside this little book, which is called Sketching from the Imagination, Creatures and Monsters by 3D Total Publishing. It's a beautiful yellow, black and white book, super thick. I think it's got 150 artists in there. So it's full of nothing but sketches. I love that book. But I flicked through it and there was a quote in there, which I thought, that's going to be this week's little inspirational quote. So it goes to Petra Frankova. I'll put links and everything in the show notes at sophielawson.com. You can also find the videos at youtube.com/sophielawson. You can also see the new font on there as well. So I'm starting to play around with the font to see if I can get it to look nice and stuff. But this week's inspirational quote is, no matter how mundane or extraordinary something is, it can provoke new ideas. I love that. Super inspiring, I think. So it just means that everything is inspiration. I think that's cool. So no matter how mundane or extraordinary something is, it can provoke new ideas. Petra Frankova. Cheers. Cheers. We love hot chocolate round here. We love hot chocolate.